Remember when you were a kid and you used to dream? If someone asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? You would answer something like a doctor, an astronaut, the president. But then you get older and you start believing a different story. The story that most of us are being told is this: go to college, spend between $30,000 and $50,000 on a degree that you may or may not use in hopes of finding a job that may or may not help you pay off all of that debt, if you can find a career with that degree at all. Here are the statistics. 40 years after entering the workforce, out of a typical 100 people, 5 are still working, 36 are dead, 54 are broke, 4 are well off, and 1 person is wealthy. This is what we're being told is success. If you're watching this video, it means that some part of you still has dreams. Some part of you deep inside still wonders if things might have been different, better, if you just had a way to get to your dreams. I want you to remember back to when you were a kid, when you used to look up at the sky and dream about your future. Remember what that was like. Feel it. And keep an open mind as I explain to you a practical and proven way to reach your dreams. In a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki explains the 4 legal ways to make money in this world. And he uses this diagram to explain it. The E is for employee, someone working for a company hoping to advance in their career. The S is for small business owner. Now this person can work up to twice as many hours as the employee and can make more or even less money than the employee. 97% of the people in this world go into one of these 2 categories. The B is for big business. These are your CEOs and your owners of multinational corporations. The I is for investor. These are the people with so much money that their money makes money, like Warren Buffett. Only 3% of the world's population go into one of those 2 categories, and these people always work for these people. Now you can always tell which category a person belongs to by their thinking. These people are concerned about security. They just want to provide for their family and have some extra for savings and feel secure. These people are concerned about freedom. What they want is to be able to go anywhere at any time and accomplish anything. Those people make big things happen. Now, following the traditional business model, which is go to college and then start working for a company, it can take between 30 and 50 years to retire if you ever get to retire. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki identifies 4 ways to make the shift from 97% to the 3% in only 3 to 5 years. The first way to become a 3% is through the stock market. Now the problem with this is that there's a very high risk, especially in this economy. It's possible, sure, to get rich with the stock market, but it's more likely that you lose money. The second way to make the shift is through real estate. It's possible to be wealthy in real estate as well, but the problem with that is that you need enough money up front to buy a few houses, and almost no one has that kind of money. The third idea is to have a genius idea. Mark Zuckerberg invented Facebook, Steve Jobs, and Apple. And while it's possible for you to be the next Mark Zuckerberg, let's be realistic, it's probably not going to happen. The fourth way to make this shift is through network marketing. You've probably heard about network marketing and you probably have some opinion about it. Knowing nothing else about it, know that it is the fastest growing industry on the planet. It is a $200 billion a year industry. The company that I'm about to show you is Qnet. Qnet was started in 1998 with 7 people. Today, it has grown to over 11 million people worldwide. We have headquarters in Hong Kong and Malaysia. We do business in over 180 countries with 50 offices worldwide because we are 100% e-commerce. We are recognized by the World Economic Forum as one of the top 300 global growth companies. And that means that of all the companies in the whole world, big oil, the automotive industry, everything, Qnet is in the top fastest growing 300 companies worldwide, which is a huge thing. Qnet's sponsors include Formula One Racing, FIFA, and MasterCard. Our partners are, get this, the United Nations. Microsoft does our tech support, and HSBC, one of the 5 largest banks in the world, does our financing. Our most recent partnership is with the Manchester City Football Club in London. We are very excited about this most recent partnership because football, or soccer if you're an American, is the #1 sport worldwide. And the Manchester City Football Club is the top club in the English League, so this is just very exciting that we got this partnership with them. So I don't mean to brag, but Qnet has grown into a successful company. It's not everyone who can get a partnership with the United Nations, Microsoft, HSBC, and the Manchester City Football Club. Now, for any company to be legitimate, there needs to be the movement of services and or goods. What Qnet has are the finest and highest quality products that can be found across the world. Now, there isn't enough time for me to tell you about all of them, so I'm just going to briefly mention our 7 lines of products. The first one are handmade Swiss watches from Switzerland. The second line is our QVI Club. With our QVI Club, you have access to 80% of the hotels and resorts worldwide, and you can get a discount between 20 and 80% from those hotels and resorts. So that is incredibly exciting. The next line are energy and wellness products. There's so much here. Some of our products can balance the electromagnetic field that your body emits and bring balance to your life where you had none before. The next line are e-learning courses. You can get a degree. You can learn about almost anything through our globally recognized e-learning courses. The next line is Home Pure. This is a revolution in water filtration because we use brand new technology from Japan and Germany to create something called Bywater, which you can get more information from the person that sent you this video. The next line is Air Pure. Our air purifier uses cutting-edge scientific innovation and technology to create an air purifier like you have never experienced. Finally, we have personal care. There's so much here again. There is a beauty product from Paris, France that removes wrinkles and smooths out your skin that women worldwide are going crazy about, and so much more. So those are the products, and they are amazing. But let's get to what you really care about, and that's how to move you from the 97% to the 3%. So let me show you the 2 founding principles that the Qnet business model is based on, because this is how we are changing lives. The first principle that Qnet is founded on is something that we call the POD. Now, to explain this, I'm going to give you 2 hypothetical situations, and I want you to choose one of them. In the first scenario, you come to work for me for 30 days, let's say at Starbucks. And every day that you work for me, I will give you $100,000. This continues for 30 days, and then it stops. This is your first option. Your second option is a similar scenario. You come to work for me for 30 days, let's say at McDonald's. Except here, I will give you 1 cent on your first day, and every day after, it will double. So on the second day, you get 2 cents. On the third day, you get 4 cents, and on the 4th day, you get 8 cents. It goes on and on like this for 30 days, and then it stops. So, which of these 2 options would you choose? Most people obviously choose the first option, because this totals to $3 million. But the second one uses the power of duplication. And Einstein called that the 8th wonder of the world. He said that if anything is created using the power of duplication, it will grow beyond imagination. So, guess how much money you'll make after 30 days working at McDonald's. In this scenario, over $10 million. Get your phone out and do the math yourself. I had to when I first saw this. Because I didn't believe it. Because this is the power of duplication. Now, the second principle that Qnet is based on is the word of mouth. This happens all over the world because people are always talking to people about things you like and dislike. I, for example, love the chicken gnocchi soup at Olive Garden, and I tell people about it. Who knows how much business that I have sent to Olive Garden over the years by me talking about their chicken gnocchi soup. But have I ever been paid for that business? No, not 1 cent. Imagine this. Imagine that when I go to Olive Garden and I buy something I was gonna buy anyway, like the chicken gnocchi soup, imagine I get worldwide franchise rights to open as many Olive Gardens as I want, anywhere in the world that I want, without the money that it costs to build and keep a restaurant going. That's what Qnet is doing. You get something that you would have bought anyway, like a discounted vacation, one time only, and you get the global franchise rights to open up your own 100% e-commerce business overseas or anywhere else in the world that you want, and you transfer the money that you make directly into your local bank account. This is how we are changing lives. Using the two principles, the power of duplication and the word of mouth, Qnet has created a binary system. So let me show you how to change the trajectory of your life with Qnet. The bi in binary means 2. So the day that you partner with Qnet, you get a tracking center with 2 arms, a left arm and a right arm. And you do what you already do as a human being, and you share with people the things that you like. If you can't meet with someone in person, just send them this video and I will do the talking for you. But let's say that you share with 2 people about Qnet. Then, since this business model uses the power of duplication, they duplicate what you did and they also share with 2 people. So they each talk to 2 people, and here's the cool part. You didn't talk to any of these people. In fact, you don't even know them, but you get paid for them in Qnet. In Qnet, different products have different values, just like in the marketplace, and depending on what you get, there's a different business value. For every 1,000 points purchased under you, you get paid $37.50. The way you get paid is when there are 3,000 points on the left and 3,000 points on the right. Then you get a paycheck of $225. So let's say that you have 3,000 points on the left, but 9,000 points on the right. You still only get a paycheck of $225 because there needs to be 3 on the left and 3 on the right. And in this case, the remaining 6,000 points in the other arm would stay there forever until you can match it with the remaining arm. Now, every person has a circle of influence in their life. These are the 2 to 8 people that you spend the most of your time with. If you were convinced, after all due diligence, that this can change your life, that this is happening right now all over the world, what would stop you from sharing it with the people that you care most about? So let me give you a real-world example of what this looks like. Now, for this next example, let's assume that when everyone partners with Qnet, they come in at 1,000 points. It can be any amount, much higher than that, but let's just assume that everyone comes in at 1,000 points. And let's say that I am super motivated to become one of the 3%, so I partner with Qnet. I share it with 2 people. And so in the first week, I have 2 people. Since there's only 1 on the left and 1 on the right, I don't get paid anything in this first week. So let's go into the second week. They duplicate what I did. And so in that second week, there are 2 more people. So now I have 3 on the left and 3 on the right. And this is when I get my first paycheck of $225. Going into the third week, they each share with 2 people. So now there are 4 on the left and 4 on the right. And since there has to be 3 and 3, I'm still getting a paycheck of $225. in this week, I have 1 left over. So going into the next week, let's make it simple, and let's say there are now 8 and 8. But I have this 1 left over, so it's really 9 and 9. Now I'm getting 3 paychecks this week. Week 5, I promise I'll stop after week 5. There are now 18 on the left and 18 on the right. So now I'm getting 6 paychecks. I'm getting $1,350, and I've worked 5 weeks, and I've made a total of $2,400. This is only the beginning stages of the power of duplication. I'm going to make much, much more than this. By the way, there's a Qnet app where you can keep track of your business on your phone wherever you go. So you can wake up in the morning and check how much money you've made while you were sleeping. It's very convenient. There are 2 ways to partner with Qnet. There is the hard way, and there is the smart way. The hard way sounds like what I just described. You invest something worth at least 1,000 business value points that you would have bought anyway in your life, like a discounted vacation. And you get a tracking center with 1 account. Using the power of duplication that is built into this business model, you're going to be making 1,000 per week, 3,000 per week, 5,000 per week, and even more. But let's just say that you're making 3,000 per week. This is the hard way. You started with 1,000 points. Now let's say you did exactly the same amount of work over on this side. You have exactly the same amount of people in your network. Everything else is the same, except over here you started with 1,500 points instead of 1,000. Over here you get 3 accounts instead of just 1. You get 3 tracking centers. It doesn't make a huge difference in the beginning, but when the numbers get big, and they will, it's 3 times as much money as over here, everything else being exactly the same. So, which of these 2 ways do you think would be better to start? Over here getting 9,000 per week for the same work, or over here getting 3,000 per week for the same work? Which one's better? I'll let you decide that. I do want to say one thing. When you partner with Qnet, money is not just going to fall from the sky. You can't get something for nothing. It takes hard work and determination. If you can work hard though, you can make more money than your boss's boss ever will. Now at this point, you're probably thinking what I was thinking when I first saw this. Okay, that sounds great. It makes sense. I see what you're saying. But it's not going to work for me. I'm going to find some way to screw it up. I'm going to fail. Okay. So let's look at the worst case scenario with Qnet. Before, I mentioned sharing with 2 people in 1 week. Well, let's say that you don't know anyone, or you're lazy, or for whatever reason it takes you a whole month to share with only 2 people. And let's say that it's the same for every single other person in your network. It takes all of them a whole month to share with 2 people. So, in the 2nd month, you have 4 people, because 2 shared with 2, and it goes on like this. So in the 3rd month, you have 8 people. The next month, you have 16. It continues just at this slow rate. Guess how many people you have in month 12? 4,096, but let's just say 4,000 to make it even. In month 12 alone, you are getting a paycheck of $150,000. And if you add the money up for the whole year, you're making $300,000. And you were lazy about it. And it took you a whole month just to talk to 2 people. Just sit in that reality for a minute. Imagine that. Now, let's look at the worst of the worst case scenario. In the real world, 100% failure or 100% success doesn't really exist. Not 100%. So let's go just slightly below 100% failure. And let's say that you fail 99.5% of the time, which means that your success rate is only 0.5%. Let's say that you worked hard all year, and instead of the previous worst case scenario where you have 4,000 people in month 12, you only have 20 people. because 0.5% of 4,000 is only 20. That means that in your first year, you've only made $775. Definitely a failure by any measure. But you are determined, and so you keep going, you push through. Going into the second year, let's make the failure even worse. Let's say that from here on out, everyone in your network fails 99.75%, which means that your success rate is only 0.25%, which is absurd, but it's the worst of the worst, so we'll just go with that. This new failure rate, these 20 people that you have won't even find one person per month. They will find 10 people in the whole year. So you have 20 people, and they each find 10 in the second year. So now you have 200 people. And in the second year, you've made about $7,000. Still, it's not very much. It's still considered a failure, but you are determined to push through. These 200 people, they find 10 people in the third year. And the third year is where the big difference happens. Now you have 2,000 people. This year you've made $75,000. Let's go into year 4. Those 2,000 people find 10 in a year. Now you have 20,000 people. And in this year, you make $750,000 using this same astronomical failure rate. In the 5th year, you make $7.5 million, which means that somewhere between year 4 and 5, you become a millionaire, and you're a 99.75% failure. There is no other industry in the world where you can be so horrible at something and become a millionaire between year 4 and 5. I mentioned before the hard way and the smart way. I want to briefly mention to you the smartest way. If you start your business with 3,000 business points or above, using the very same worst case scenario, you become a millionaire between year 2 and 3 instead of year 4 and 5. The person that sent you this video can give you more information about this plan. It's just something to think about. If you're like me, you're thinking, okay, what's the catch? That all sounds great, but what's the risk that you're not mentioning? And I'll be honest, there is a risk that I have not mentioned. And we call this the cost of delay. In the few minutes that it took you to watch this video, people are joining Qnet all over the world. The person who sent this video to you didn't just send it to you. They sent it to a bunch of people. And those people are sharing with people who are sharing with people who are sharing with people. So if you join with Qnet 3 months from now, you will have lost all the people that joined Qnet between now and then, all because you waited 3 months. So you can partner with Qnet now and get paid for all those people that are signing up anyway, regardless of you. Or you can do it now and you can make all that money. So let's face it, if this is true, if you can make money like this, which people are already doing worldwide as we speak, if this is true, you'd have to be brain dead to not take me up on this. I do want to warn you of the 2 primary causes that stop people from changing their lives, so that you can avoid them while you're considering this. The first is listening to people who don't know what they're talking about. And the second is not listening to people who do know what they're talking about. I guarantee, if you ask your neighbor, your mom, your coworker, your mailman, they will all have an opinion on this based off of hearsay or because they tried something in the past with the wrong company and failed. The person who sent you this video has the inside information that you need because they're on the inside. So ask them literally any question that you have. The potential of this business and the reality of what it takes to reach success are both things that I want you to understand. Money will not fall from the sky once you join with Qnet. You have to work and keep going when you're discouraged and keep going when you're tired. Then the money will come. And unlike every other industry in the world, There is literally no challenge or hardship that can prevent any person from going all the way to the top. The only thing that can stop you is if you give up. That's all. One thing that I love about Qnet is their slogan. We have this acronym that sounds like this word, rhythm. Raise yourself to help mankind. This is what defines Qnet. At the very heart of Qnet is the mission to take people from being poor, unfulfilled, and unhappy to being wealthy, fulfilled, and happy. Now, this is different from your typical job because in your job, you have a boss, which we'll say is this person at the top. Your boss doesn't care about your happiness or whether you have dreams or not. If you quit or you get fired, they're just going to replace you with somebody else to do the same thing. In Qnet, you have strong, genuine support that is built into the business model because if this is you want to inspire the people in your network. And so you ask them, what are you going to buy when you make your first 300,000? The first person says, I'm going to buy my dream car. The second person says, I want to buy a house. If you help them accomplish those dreams, you get the car and the house. So it is in your best interest to help them succeed. So you will do it, just like the people above you will move mountains to help you succeed, which is why this is an economic powerhouse that is changing lives. The last point that I want to leave you with are the 2 ways to live life. The first way to live life is called the marathon. In the marathon, you run alone, and you run for a very long time. Here's what the marathon looks like. You go to work, and you come back home. And you might have a few sick days, but then you go to work and you come back home. And you might have a few vacation days, but you go to work and you come back home. And you wake up on Monday morning and you hate your alarm clock because you hate your job. And you're looking forward to Wednesday when you have a small glimmer of hope towards Friday, when you can live those 2 precious days where you can be yourself and you don't have to work with people that you don't like and do all the office politics. And sometimes you wake up and you're sad and you're depressed, but you have to go to work and come back home because if something ever happens in your life that forces you to stop going to work and coming back home, someone else is not going to go to your job and do your job and then you get paid for it. Your income just stops. Game over. This is how the 97% live their life. The other way to live life is called the relay. If you've been wondering what it feels like, how the 3% live their life, this is how they do it. One person works for a short amount of time, and they build their network. Then they hand the baton off to someone else. Then that person works very hard for a short amount of time, and they hand it off. And the next person duplicates and does the same thing. So if this is you, and you want to go on a 3-month cruise, you want to get paid the whole time for it, and not work the whole time, you can do that. Because these people don't stop working. Because they're making money for themselves. This is freedom. This is waking up in the morning and all of your stresses have melted away. And the only concern that you have in the whole world is where to go on vacation next. This is where you have the deepest sense of fulfillment in your life. And you can provide anything that you want for yourself and for your loved ones. They will want for nothing. This is how the 3% live. They're dreamers. They are happy and fulfilled. This is happening all over the world. So why not you? Why not start the journey and join the 3%? Become a dreamer again today.